what's up? Welcome to this episode of MPTV. We are at Branch Hill Coffee, and we're going to talk to this owner who knows what it takes to keep this drive-thru moving quick and give amazing customer service. Hey, what's up? It's Matt. We're back with another episode of MPTV, and today we're with the guest that I think is going to have the hardest last name ever to pronounce. It's Andrea Anaspigian.
Anaspigian, you got it right.
I should get a free cup of coffee
You should.
for saying that. So we are at Branch Hill Coffee, and if you're new to the podcast and you haven't watched or heard what we talk about two things: making profit for a business. MP, Matt Platt, but also making profit. And when I say making profit, what are business owners in the restaurant space, coffee, ice cream, beer, doing to make a difference inside their walls, outside their walls with marketing? And we're at a coffee shop today. And I guess introduce yourself first, and then I got my first question because I want to know this one. But tell the audience who you are and what this brand is.
I am Andrea Anaspigian, owner of Branch Hill Coffee Company. We're in Branch Hill, Ohio, which is a little part of Claremont County. Bought this coffee shop, it'll be 6 years ago in a few weeks, and ultimate wild hair. Had no idea. None.
So it was like when my wife goes to Costco and leaves with the 48 pack of beef jerky, this was that.
This was my 48 pack of beef jerky. I thought, this is easy. This should be easy. So I started, we got into it because I was looking for a piece of equipment. I was doing some commercial baking out of my house. I have my home bakery license, and so it just kind of blossomed from there, and the piece of equipment that I was looking at didn't work. Bought the business instead, and here I am. So
seems logical.
It was logical. So been here for almost 6 years now, and almost every single day. Actually, every single day we're open, I am here.
And you're still in the insurance business too, right?
I am. I still write.
Because that's how I knew you before.
Right. So that's I still write insurance, property and casualty insurance, and I have a nice, understanding book of business that understands that if I can't get back to them right away, then it's because I'm slinging a latte or something.
So I could come through the drive-thru, get a latte, and then update my policy, add my 16-year-old.
Pretty much so, and I have customers that do that, so it's nice, and I've actually picked up some business being here, so it's good.
So the concept here, which by the way, you come to a coffee shop, you got to get coffee. So
Exactly.
and I needed it because today's been long. This last 5 days have been long, but everybody I've talked to so far, and we've had all sorts of stories about how they're running their restaurant, they're buying equipment, they're leasing stuff, they're hiring, they're firing, they're talking to customers. The one thing I was telling my producer, David, that stuck out to me was you've got a pretty quick task. Because I can see a sign across the street that says Quick Stop. Mm-hmm. We left a restaurant recently where he was talking about their one fast food service. It's like, we got to get people out this quick. And our 15-minute ticket time on our casual dining, you've got like 15 seconds.
15 seconds, yep.
So let's talk about that. What is that like? Because I would imagine you get some big rushes at like 6:30 in the morning.
We do, and a lot of it, the good part about this business is in the morning, people are habitual.
Yeah.
They want the same cup of coffee, the same size, they want 3 sugars, 3 creams, and off they go. So it's getting into the routine, and you know that if Joe pulls in, then probably Mary's going to be behind him. So let's just kind of see what the cars are doing and just kind of prep that way. We don't have a drive-through, we have a drive-up, which makes it even more complicated because people don't order until they get to the window.
Oh, I gotcha, because they're ordering.
So they don't bark in a speaker and somebody take it. They come up to the window, and then so in the mornings when it's a rush hour, if you get someone that's not been here before and they're looking at the menu and they're like, what do I order? And I just kind of want this and I kind of want that. It's taking the lead and doing some hardcore suggestive selling.
Yeah.
rather than listing off all of the breads, if you've got a line a mile long, would you like your breakfast sandwich on an English muffin this morning?
Yeah.
Off you go.
Yeah.
And just pushing it through, but making them feel like what they're doing is the most important thing that you have going on that minute.
Okay.
We do a loyalty punch card. Everybody leaves with one. We give away a lot of food and a lot of drink. And we have one card, one side's drinks, one side's sandwiches. It works for this business. And we get families that come in, and you know what the husband likes. The wife comes in, she's like, my husband's here all the time. What's your husband's name? Comes to the drive-thru. You get it ready, you send them off. And so in the mornings when it's busy like that, you'll see someone's spouse and you'll say, are you bringing home coffee for so-and-so?
Yep.
And it's just, but we move pretty quick. And if it gets jammed up, then, you have them pull over. You take their order, get them their drinks, have them pull over to the side, and then suggest that they call ahead the next time if they've got a large order.
Yeah.
Did you know you can order online? People don't suspect that out of this little shop.
Yeah, that surprises me.
We have a little online order button on our Facebook page. You can order from our website as well, and it shows right up on our cash register, and we get rocking on those, and then people just come in and they either walk in or come through the drive up and off they go.
See, you have a commonality. It must be today. Today, the couple of these podcast interviews we've done have been with people that are just great people person. Is that the way?
Well,
and I think that's missed so often. That, like, I actually went into a chain coffee store down near my house recently, and I walked up, and I go there about twice a week, so it's right next to my house, and she goes, hey Matt, here, it's on the house today. And I went, oh, I'm not in any other clubs. And I said, oh, why? She's like, because you're a good customer. And it made me feel good that she knew who I was.
Sure.
Because the number of places I go, because me and my wife, we joked that this is going to be a common trend of the podcast, that our kitchen divorced us a long time ago. Oddly enough, she's making food tonight. Neither one of us are big food people at the house. And I'm amazed how many places that we go into every week. I always have the same freaking orange outfit on, and they have no clue who you are. And so I think that means a lot. That's a missed ingredient in places like your success. So people who come through the drive-through, and people who come inside, we just make it a point to engage with them. How are you today? You'll see them walk in with someone that is a regular customer. So now you're putting families together, you're putting business associates together. So, and I'm pretty good at remembering who goes with who and who, and my staff is pretty good about that as well. And we say, oh, your wife was just in. She took this home for you. Yeah.
Or, we just learn a lot about people, who's having a baby, who just lost a spouse, who just lost a parent, what family just got a new dog. It's getting engaged, listening to what people say and remembering it, and, just acting like you care.
Yeah.
And actually caring. I mean, these people have become part of our family.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool.
I was talking to a guy the other day. I went through a training a long time ago, sales training when I was in radio, and they said the number one thing you need to stop asking when you call and talk to somebody you don't know or somebody you don't really know well is, how are you doing? Because number one, you actually don't care.
Right.
And you're going to get into I actually had a guy like, oh, you wouldn't believe my wife's leaving me. I was cheating on her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in a conversation. I was asking about advertising. Where does this go? But it's so much different. I was telling a guy the other day at a restaurant, we were doing some training with his staff, and I said, don't ask the generic questions, how are you doing? Be specific. Loving the sun today?
Yeah.
And then, because then you can have a sincere conversation. Because if you say, how are you doing? They say, great. You say, great. But it goes in their way. But if you have something they have to answer the question, or like Bob Jacoby, one of the guys we interviewed recently, knows everybody. I walk in, he walks up and he's like, and Cole's like, hey, Dad, there's Bob. My 15-year-old knows the general manager's name.
Sure.
And he walks up, hey, Cole, how's football going, my man? He knows he plays for Raleigh. He knows he plays D-tackle, and he's learned that over 6-7 years.
Right.
And that's important.
Looking for marketing for your restaurant that has proven results? The ROI Engine programs help restaurants use marketing attention to grow a database that drives sales on demand. For more information, visit www.roiexperts.net.
So what are some things you've seen that, like, what was your biggest surprise when you took this over in like the last 6 years of running a coffee shop that I'm guessing probably goes hard hit spurts and then dies for 3 hours? But what's like one of the biggest takeaways you were like, wow, if you were talking to future you out there who's watching this and going, I might do this, what is something that you're like, wow, I didn't know this, or it just surprised you?
I think that, and this is true in any business, people's loyalty and their commitment to you really is only as good as their last interaction with you. Okay. There's a lot of people out here in this area trying to get a piece of this business, trying to get somebody else's business. I mean, I've got a restaurant across the street that serves lunch. You know, we've got a Starbucks around the corner. They've been around the corner this whole time. But if I don't make sure that, you know, I'm taking care of the customer or my staff is taking care of the customer, they're going to go somewhere else. Yeah. And they can go anywhere, but they choose to come in here. So I lost where I was going with it.
Well, talk about the biggest thing you learned.
So
loyalty.
It's loyalty, and you you feel terrible if someone leaves and they have a bad experience, and you think, oh gosh, now what's going to happen? Yeah. But you know, most people are pretty forgiving if they're regular customers, but if you get that one person, and then that one person spreads the garbage talk like, you know, like wildfire. So, but it's just, it's being on top of things, really.
Yeah, I had a restaurant owner tell me recently, he tells his staff, every day is the Super Bowl.
Yep. With
that customer.
Yep.
That if you don't have you get one chance a lot of times. And you know, people have, you know, it's what have you done for me lately sometimes.
Exactly.
And some people aren't real loyal, and they just kind of go in the way, so you got to make sure you're on top of it.
Well, it's kind of interesting because we have customers who go through cycles. You know, sometimes they'll be real hot to trot, and they are in every single morning, and they're getting their black coffee, and they're here, and they're here, and they're here. Next thing you know, you see them driving down the street. You see them driving down the street, and they're not stopping here. But then you remember, last year they did the same thing, or the year before they did the same thing, so they'll be back.
Yeah.
You know, and it probably wasn't anything that we did, just something changed. But, you know, it's kind of interesting because you can notice that.
So the other thing you've got going, because this is interesting, I just learned this minutes ago, was the other location that you guys secured something last summer, you closed it down, you're in the process of redoing it. Talk about that process, because I would imagine a lot of people would buy something and try to, within a couple months, have it up and running and going, but I'm guessing you've run into some hurdles. Talk about what you've learned in that experience.
Due diligence is great. No, actually, I don't know that we could have done any more due diligence than we did. The space really just needed a lot of help and a lot of love. And we thought when we purchased the business that we could keep it open, keep serving the customers, because we bought those customers technically when you buy a business, right? So we wanted to keep all of that going, and then a few days into it we realized there was no way that we could do that.
You couldn't do what you wanted to do in that space.
No, it needed so much help, so much. We thought, you know, we could close maybe for a couple of weeks and do a deep clean and a little spruce up, and it needed way more than that.
And that's important, because a lot of people would try and push their standards to the side because they made that investment. We got to make this happen, but no, you've got a way that you want to do it to make sure that you're here in 10 years.
Well, and we also know that it's within the city of Montgomery. We also know that Montgomery itself is putting a lot of money into infrastructure close by, new development close by. So we have to position ourselves to really shine and to knock it out of the park, and we just can't half do it. We have to do it, and we have to do it well, and we have to be ready for it.
So the key takeaway for me is if you've got a standard, don't compromise it because, hey, we want to get this open in a month or two. Because especially like you said, you only get one shot. So if all of a sudden people's impression of you is that might change it. I was at a Pittsburgh Steelers game about 4 or 5 years ago, and there's a brand of restaurant up there that I had never had before. And I went to the stadium and had it. And I was at a Steelers game, Steelers versus Bengals, and which I'm sure didn't end well for the Bengals. It normally doesn't.
I was going to say.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is this brand. I won't say it, but I've never had it. I hear a lot of good things about it. And it was terrible. And I was talking to a friend of mine in the business. He's like, yeah, that's why we avoid stadiums. He's like, because that stadium has their own employees. Like we can't, that brand, their employees aren't cooking that food, serving the food. And later on, I went to the location a couple weeks later. I was up there again and had the food, and it was night and day. And I'm like, wow, for me, if I'm that restaurant owner, just because I want to be in the Steelers stadium and make a little profit because it's there, do I want my brand exposed like that? Because if I wouldn't have given them a second chance, the food was night and day. Yeah. It's the same with you. You're going to this space that you're saying, okay, we want to turn this around in a couple weeks or a month. And then you put something out there that's not really reflective of who you are.
Right. Yeah, and that's one thing that this little shop does very well. The food is fresh. The food is made here. I don't use cheap ingredients. And when you get a turkey sandwich, it's going to be layered in the same way that the turkey sandwich you got last week was layered. Yeah. It's not, when Janice makes a sandwich, it's going to look like this, and when Joe makes a sandwich, it's going to look like this. It's always, it kind of harkens back to whenever I was in high school and I worked for Wendy's. The condiments go on in the exact same order all the time. This is how it goes. And so that's kind of how we build our food here. It goes in the exact same order all the time.
Now, do you have SOPs, standard operating procedures that when employees come in that they know exactly how you do it? Is there a checklist? How do you convey that to your team?
I am so casual about that. It's terrible. Passive-aggressive management style. I'm like the worst at that. That is something that I really struggle with.
But you must get it through.
I do. And I tell them, and I tell them the why of why we put.
That's important.
So, we put the sandwich together this way because it stays together. Because if you put it this way, then it all falls apart. Yeah. And your tomatoes flying across the room. Yeah. So if you explain to people the why, then they get it. Yeah. If you just say, do it this way, then they're going to be like, heck, I got to get this sandwich out. I'm just going to throw it all together. But they understand. And then I tell them that, and if someone slips up or something, I remind them. They're coming here because they had this chicken salad sandwich last week, and it looked and it tasted like this. Yep. And now it looks like this. This is not what they had last week. That's something that I'm really big on. And actually, unfortunately, I had to let a person go because she put the sandwich together literally. It was on a croissant and it was literally upside down. The top of the croissant was on the bottom. And she's like, well, what does it matter? And I'm like, bye.
Adios, amigos.
Yeah. She showed up the next day for work, though. That was kind of interesting. So.
Restaurant owners, did you know Matt has free online marketing courses that teach you how to successfully market your restaurant? Email support@mattplapp.com to get access to the courses and a free social media content calendar.
Talking about product, I was at a restaurant recently, I guess last year this time, and there was a salad I always get there. Mm-hmm. And it's a multi-location local restaurant. And I got the salad, and I had it 100 times. I went to a different location, and I'm having a meeting, and I'm eating the salad, and it's not even close to what it used to be. And the manager walked by, and this is what I was talking about earlier with some people about the importance of talking to your customers, because too many times people are in your customers, they're not going to confront you with it.
Right.
If they have a problem, they're just going to either not come back or they're going to leave you a bad review. They're not going to typically tell you. And this manager walked by and she's like, hey, what's going on? Hey, how was your XYZ salad? I said, actually, it's not very good. I said, there's something wrong. I have this all the time at the other location. This doesn't taste right. And she looked at it, she goes, oh my gosh, there's a lot of kale in there. because it's a salad that has kale, but it also has iceberg lettuce and some other stuff. And she said, give me 1 second, please. She walked back and came back. She goes, I'm embarrassed to say this, but the guy who is working the line that does our salads, this is his first day. And apparently he did 90-10 kale versus
instead of 10.
The other way. And I'm like, that makes sense. And she goes, you know what? I want to do this real quick. I'm taking this, I'm throwing it away, I'm making you this, and then you have somebody, where are you going to this? And so I'm going to this, I was going to my gym, and she's like, I bet somebody at your gym would like a salad. I'm going to give you one for the road to take to them. And it was cool because like it was consistency.
Sure.
That I literally had this salad a lot of times, and then had she not stopped and asked, I probably wouldn't have come back to the location because I'm like, man, there's something wrong here.
Right.
But it helped her also identify somebody that had been doing the
problem,
wrong
yeah.
job. That
No,
this was like at
absolutely.
noon. Who knows what comes at 7 o'clock?
Yeah. So we, one problem that as a small business we run into is we don't have a big buying power like, you know, somebody with 4 or 5 different chains, and we do all of our shopping on our own.
Okay.
So we are at the mercy of a few supply houses in town, and if they don't have the same thing, most recently, where we buy our cheeses, stopped carrying, and this is going to sound ridiculous, orange cheddar cheese. They were carrying white cheddar cheese. To me, it all tastes the same, but I'll use the white, it's fine, that's what I can get. And you tell people it's a white cheddar. I had a woman that took me to task at the window and said, make sure you put cheddar cheese on my sandwich, you used the wrong cheese the last time. And I said, well, what, you know, we went about the cheese, and so she says, no, she says, I asked for cheddar, but it was white. And I said, that's what we are using, is a white cheddar. And she goes, well, I want orange cheese. Okay, the only orange cheese I currently have is American. Well, I don't like American cheese. I can give you orange. I can't give you any orange cheese.
Yeah.
But it's, so sometimes we're at the mercy of what we can get our hands on.
Yeah.
It's interesting what people, you know, your salad experience, I would have been appalled. I, as a business owner, I would have just absolutely died. But the cheese thing, I mean, I'm kind of like, is this what I can get?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, if it's white or it's orange, it's all cheddar, but
It tastes the same.
yeah, it does. But visually, for some reason, that really bothered her.
So talking about buying product, because that was something I'm always curious about. You know, you've got some great baked goods behind here. I'm guessing they're made.
We make everything in-house.
Okay. What is some advice you would give people? Because a lot of people that are going to watch this, there's going to be people that are established. There's going to be people that are brand new, people that are looking to start a restaurant or a bakery or coffee shop. What are some of your advices on buying stuff? I mean, because you don't have the negotiation power that, you know, a chain does with 40 locations. Right. What are some things you found that have worked for you that help you with your business?
Lots of consolidation trips. With product, we try to maximize the use out of everything. Can you use it here and here? Okay. Or can you use it here, here, and here? So now you only have to buy one kind of greens or one kind of cheese, and it's going to go across 4 different things in different, you know, it'll go in this wrap, it'll go on this salad, and it'll go, you know, wherever else. And so it's just trying to, and it's been trial and error for us, but I think after almost 6 years, we've kind of got it nailed down, and we streamline pretty quick. You know, we know about how much, you know, how much bacon we're going to go through a week, how many eggs. You'd be surprised at how many eggs we go through.
How many?
At least 30 dozen a week.
Wow.
For this little shop.
That's a lot of eggs.
Yeah, we rock.
That's a lot of eggs.
We sell them.
Does that count what's in the baked goods?
Yep.
Wow.
So we sell them in our breakfast.
Yep.
We put them on salads, and we stick them in the baked goods. And if you are a chicken, you need to run, because I'm going to take those eggs. Taking your eggs. So yeah, so it's just kind of using product. I don't have a whole lot of things that I just use in one.
Yeah, using it multi places.
Yes.
Plus you don't have that much storage.
Right, and it's using it in multi places, but not making people think, oh God, chicken here
Yeah.
and chicken over here,
Yeah.
and what is, so it's,
I was actually fortunate enough recently to be in a meeting, because I get involved in some strange meetings in the restaurant business that normally a marketing person wouldn't be in.
Sure.
But I get to hear some cool stuff, and they're like, hey, Matt, you got to hang out for this. Well, I happen to be in one where a guy that operates a lot of restaurants was meeting with his executive chef, the head chef, and going over the new menu. And it was the first thing he noticed. He's like, you realize that you've got like 28 items on here that have single-use ingredients. He's like, so now all these new things you want to do, they look great, they sound great, the customers might love them.
Right.
But you've got every one of these, there's nothing used anywhere. And then one of them was like a topping on a dessert, and the volumes they needed to buy, because he's like, also the volume on that topping, we can't use anywhere else. The volume we'd have to buy to actually be able to sell it for that product, we'd have that topping for 5 years. And I was talking to him afterwards, it blew me away. I would never think of that. It's just not my brain. And I said, dude, how do you know that? And he's like, Matt, that's what I do. Like, I look at a menu, I'm not looking necessarily, I'm looking like, okay, we've got this lettuce, this can go here, 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 good. We got this chicken here, we got this rib item we're gonna use as a appetizer for a rib basket, but also a regular rib. And it was intriguing to me, because I think a lot of people, like, he even made a comment, he's like, this guy's a great chef. He's been in the business for a long time, but he doesn't think that way. So I think a lot of times you've got to, like you're saying, think, where else can this go?
Yeah, we have a sandwich that we rolled out last summer, was ham and brie on a baguette with field greens. And so it sells pretty well. It's a nice change. No one else is offering anything with double or triple cream brie around here, and it does pretty well. One morning, my son is here, he's working with us, he's having breakfast, but he's eating brie on a baguette with raspberry jelly. And we're like, that looks pretty good. Guess what's on our breakfast menu now? The breakfast baguette, and it sells very well, because it's different. It's not the same breakfast that everybody else is serving. And the price point's where people will buy it. And they're getting something different, and they're feeling, it gives them a better feeling about it. It's like, oh, well, I just had this for breakfast. And, something different. So now we don't have a whole lot of brie that hangs around here.
It's all gone.
It moved. So now that was kind of how we came across how we're going to use this again, and we just kind of stumbled on it. So
beat that. So I guess in wrapping up, I always ask a question at the end of, if you're talking, having a one-to-one conversation with somebody, and say, hey, what is a quick win, or what is an easy task they can do on a daily basis in their business to make it more successful? Something you've seen that is simple, that is quick, that is easy, or something that just common knowledge. What would be one piece of advice?
Wow.
Yeah, I love putting people on the spot.
I know.
There's no preparation.
No.
And sometimes it's just something simple, hey, we do this every day, and we found that it makes a difference, especially like with your line, I guess. Like, something that you do that keeps that line moving quicker, something you found that's just like, wow.
Actually something that we do, and it sounds kind of funny, but my restaurant's kind of like a fishbowl.
Yep.
And we can see people when they turn in. And so in the mornings, everybody's pretty much a creature of habit, and they order the same drink. We start getting their drinks ready.
Okay.
And when they get to the window, just hold their cup out. And they just think that's the coolest thing. They're like, how did you know? It's like, well, you've been getting this large latte every day for the last 3 years. So we do have a lot of people who don't use our punch card.
Okay.
And we'll just hand it to them and say, have a great day.
So things that make it a smoother, quicker process, but also a customized process.
Yes.
Because one of the interviews we did recently is a place called Better Blend. It's a smoothie shop. And my car is recognizable when I drive it there. I mean, it's the only one in the area. I always have orange on. And the one guy told me the other day when we were in there on Saturday, while we were talking about how I love it when I get it, he goes, oh yeah, the other day when I see your car pull up, I know you're getting an orange dreamsicle. I mean, the same thing. I walk up and I'm in line 3 or 4 deep, and I go to pay, and most people have to wait 5 or 10 minutes because they order, they make it.
Right.
When they see me pull up, they know, Matt, orange dreamsicle, because I've gotten it 200-300 times. And same thing, I walk up, they go, Orange Dream Circle, right? Yep, they swipe it, it's done, it's over there. And I'm like, and that happened probably after the 3rd or 4th visit, and it's happened ever since now for a year.
Yeah.
And that's a cool thing. I think a lot of businesses lose that personal touch. Now, I guess I'll have a follow-up to end it. How do you get that to, because you rely a lot on 16, 18, 20-year-olds.
No,
Not a lot?
Not
You have a
much.
few, don't you?
We do, but we have a ton of professionals that come through here. We have, our morning business is all professionals.
Okay.
The neighborhood is, it's pretty stacked.
But your employees, I mean.
My employees.
You got a lot of younger employees.
Yes, very much.
How do you ingrain that in them, that when that maroon Expedition drives by, that's Jimmy Smith and Jimmy gets this? Like, do you find that, is that something you're always on the lookout for, or do you see a lot of them catching up that? Is it?
They will catch up, and they see me doing that.
Okay.
So it's not a, hey, you need to sit out
by
and
example.
Pay attention, but it's more leading by example, absolutely.
Okay.
And they'll know who has a card on file, who has a gift card on file or whatever, and it's in the computer, and they don't have to waste any time asking for money or anything like that, because they've already got it there.
Well, cool.
So.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
And that's
Absolutely.
it. That is a wrap for the episode. MPTV here at Branch Hill Coffee. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
We'll see you around.
My pleasure.